podcast 839. My Mac.
And welcome everyone to the mymac.com podcast for this week. To that number that Gaz just said. So, and here's the thing, other than rumors, Gaz, there hasn't been a lot of recent talk from Apple about the next round of M-series computers, but a lot of people, analysts, have been talking about the iMac as possibly the next Mac to get the put in it, which of course is why the title is what it is. My Mac. Yeah.
Well, I do mention a couple of those in my snippets, actually. I think I mentioned it a couple of times. And there's actually one that's just come up, which is not yet actually in the snippets in the show notes, but it's come up on my feed. So I'll throw that one at you right at the
Where are
end,
you getting that feed? Or you want to talk about that offline?
Not telling you. I think I've said before. I think I think I went through and did it when you buggered off somewhere and I did a show.
Yeah. Yeah, so I couldn't, so that I didn't get to hear it. Right, got it. Excellent. Good choice. Thumbs up.
But I'm just using NetNewsWire, and I've got various feeds, and some of them get duplicated, and some so they get deleted. But yeah, it's all
right.
pretty
So
smooth.
what have you got going on?
No, well,
I'm still looking for work.
Not so good. So mainly I've been doing bike rides, walks,
Nice.
and messing about with my Mac Mini. But quite lazy, really, if I'm honest with you. I've been speaking to a few people about jobs at the moment, nothing permanent. So I've taken the 2 weeks off just to think, okay,
Sure.
what do I want to do? How do I want to move forward? Just exactly how much money have I got and how much time can I take off and how much time should I take off before I, jump back in? Anyway, that's what I'm doing at the moment. So, and we have spoken about this, not on the show, I don't think. I think we may have spoken about this off show.
Maybe.
But I did watch the finale of WandaVision. Do you want me to give you my verdict?
Yeah, I watched it last night. Go ahead.
So what?
Really? Oh my God. Well, but you're not a comic book geek.
I'm not a comic book geek. I'll agree with you.
So that's and just in case I say something, let me say the word right now.
Spoiler.
Potential spoilers are afoot.
Yes. Spoilers are us.
Right. So if you haven't watched the last episode, there is a character named Agatha Harkness who plays a big part in WandaVision, but you don't find out about it until the last two episodes.
Yeah.
And the episode previous to the finale, I'm not. But the episode previous to the finale, there were some amazing things that were revealed about everything that had happened.
Absolutely. Now there were that. I think actually the previous episode was more but the finale kind of finished off with you're just feeding in to all sorts of other shows and offshoots from this particular.
Well, two things.
And I didn't.
Two things that happened.
I didn't like the end. I'll
okay. Well, see, the ending I think is setting up for the next season. I know. Okay. However, the two things, the Vision fight, and I don't want to say who he was fighting or why he was fighting him.
Yeah.
And the resolution of that fight was, even though it was kind of low key, and if you weren't paying attention, you might not get what had just happened.
I got it.
And then the fight between Wanda and
the other person,
Agatha. Yeah. And the way that resolved.
Yeah.
When you think, oh, she is so effed. And then all of a sudden it's like,
yeah.
No.
But I came away thinking I've just watched 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Was it?
And honestly, the first 2 don't even really count.
Yeah, well,
Because-
actually, I was thinking the last, 4 of those, they could have just moved to it. They really, really, and at the end, we're kind of left, and that's kind of. I was disappointed with the end, but I'm not a big comic book
Yeah.
geek, but I do enjoy and have enjoyed that series of Avenger films, which this is really an offshoot from.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the whole way that the events that had happened in the town with those people, the way that was resolved, the way her brother was resolved, the way that her kids were resolved, the way that the Vision was resolved, all of that. And it was just like, and this is like a 40-minute episode where they had to wrap everything up. And it was just like boom, 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 boom. And yeah, I get maybe for people that weren't more aware of the history of all these things that were
No,
going
I disagree
on.
with you there, because I'm not a geek, but I've got enough awareness of the history around all of those characters, and they put enough into the Agatha character to be able to understand and get the history of that. I was just disappointed. I just watched the end and thought,
But the thing about the Agatha Harkness that they had in this show was very, very different from the Agatha Harkness that they've portrayed in the comics. It's almost not the same.
You got to stop. You got to stop there. You've got to stop there, Guy, because as a comic book geek, knowing that character in the comic books, that's totally irrelevant.
Yeah,
for
it is.
Probably
It is.
90% of the people
Well,
watching the show.
same thing with all the Avengers films.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with all of the Marvel films.
And
You know,
that's,
I mean, having
and that's kind of where I come from. I'm kind of watching it as a TV, because I'm not going to go back and start reading the comics. It's just something I'm not going to do. I read.
Oh, come on!
comics
It was only from the early '60s to now. I mean,
it's not much
you're
catching
not
up to do.
you're not working right now. Just go ahead, get all those comics, bring them in.
I can't
50
read.
years.
Oh, no, hang on a minute. They're comics. Hang on a minute. They're comics.
Yeah. And then
anyway.
of course, remember as you're going through the 50 years of comic books, how many times they completely changed and revised the history that all happened before.
Yeah.
So remember those things.
Anyway,
Yeah,
as this is not the My Mac Marvel show,
it is not.
I wish I hadn't said anything now.
No, too late. Too late. No, it's fun. I like talking about it. And you know, in some ways, I kind of envy Tim and Dave when they do like Geeks Pub.
Yeah.
Because it gives them the chance to kind of get away from the tech side. And, you know, you and I right now, we could probably spend 40 to 60 minutes just talking about Marvel movies and DC movies and all the rest of that. But that's not what this show is about.
And there'd be from two ends of the spectrum as well. Anyway,
Yeah.
What has your Mac week been like, Guy?
Oh, it has been weird. Now, you remember last week I was telling you that we did the big swaparoo.
Yeah.
With my old iMac.
Is that like
Guy's
a
old
kangaroo?
iMac.
Is that like a kangaroo without the kanga?
Yeah, but it's inside of its own pouch, which
Okay.
is what really makes it weird.
So it's a poucheroo.
It's poucheroo. So doing the big swap. Now, I had a 3 terabyte Fusion drive in my iMac. Guy only had a 1 terabyte Fusion drive, but it doesn't really matter because Tracy is only using like under 200 gigs of storage.
Yeah.
So that part doesn't even really matter. But the issue that I ran into after I had finished doing all the big swaps, including using her backup to image the drive that's going to be her new old iMac.
Yeah.
There was only, out of this 1 terabyte drive, there was only about 150 gigs left. And she had under 200 gigs of between system and data, well under 200 gigs. It was like, where is this other 650 gigs of data coming from? And I tried all the various tricks. I'd open up a new Finder window and I'd do a search or a list by size and all the rest. Nothing was coming up. I could not see where all this data was coming from. And when I did an about this Mac and looked at storage there, it came up, that entire big block came up as other. And it's like, okay, Apple, I really appreciate the fact that you give us these great tools to do the things that we want to do. However, to take a 600 to 700 gigabyte block of data and call it other is not really helpful. So I looked, and this is over the course of days I was working on this. And what it turned out to be was old carbon copy cloner backups.
Oof.
That was going all the way back to 2014. And for some reason, when I updated the machine to Big Sur and then did the data swap,
Yeah.
it took a lot of files that it decided was not compatible with Big Sur and moved them into this folder
Right.
called incompatible folder, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And when I finally found that, it was like, oh, there it is. And then I had to dig into that to get to right where it was. And when I saw that it was old carbon copy cloner data, I was like, you have got to be
I tell you
almost
what,
said a
I'll
bad
tell you
word.
what,
Kidding.
Daisy Disk would have found that for you really quickly.
I did try a couple of utilities, and none of them were particularly helpful. But
Daisy
I didn't
Disk,
think to try.
yeah, that's why I went. Because I think I did a bit of a comparison with it, and I searched, and I mentioned this, and a few people went, "Yeah, but Daisy Disk costs money," and there was a couple of others which I
Good
tried,
tools
which
cost
were
money.
free. Yeah, absolutely. And I just like the way it displayed it and the way it gave you the information, and I found some folders like that. And Daisy Disk, it's so easy to find it and open it up and do it. Anyway, never mind. You found it. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So finally got rid of that. And now it's down to well under 200 gigabytes again. So I'm getting ready. We're getting ready to do the swap. And then it'll be probably about a month and a half of my wife complaining to me that things don't work the way that they used to.
Yeah.
And me having to go up and going, oh, because you have to do this now, or you have to do this now. And then to hear the inevitable, well, why do they have to change it? It's like, I don't know. I just use this stuff. I don't know why they do the
I
things
don't
that
design
they
it.
do. And believe me, you don't want an operating system that I designed. You really, really do not.
No, because it'll be changing every week.
Yeah, you'll be like, well, let's see. What color scheme are we going to use this week? I don't know. It's from some third party we've never heard of before.
Not a new color on the iMac.
I know. Another one. So the other weird thing that happened is I've been really, really slack in posting guys' daily drives and all the rest of that stuff.
Slap wrist.
Up to YouTube. And then from YouTube, it goes to my podcast feed and all the rest of that. So, and of course, into vertshark.com, the website.
Dude.
Yeah. So I went into, I started like finally getting off my ass and getting some of that updated. And then I looked at comments. There were like 1,200 comments that I hadn't done anything with yet.
Oops.
Because I don't let people just automatically post comments. There's just too much crap out there to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I started to look now. WordPress only gives them to you 20 at a time. I had like 56 pages of comments if I was going to scroll through them like that. And it was like, no, I'm not going to scroll through them like that, because believe it or not, Gaz, I actually do have a life. It's not much of one. And people sometimes question the validity of what that life is, but I do have one. So I went and I turned on, I can't remember the name of it. There's an anti-spam plugin that for one reason or another I turned off at one point. So I turned that back on, and out of the 1,200 comments, there were like 1,173. And it found, it was like, yeah, these are spam. So that got rid of all those. And then I just had to go in and deal with like one page of the other ones, which were also spam. So Yeah, so I finally got rid of all that, and that's kind of everything that's been going on with me. And I was thinking that this was going to be a short show. I don't think it is.
You fool, man!
I
You
know.
fool!
Every single time I think it's going to be a short show, it's a freaking marathon.
Sorry, I just dipped in and out then because I stopped and restarted my video because it's.
Yeah, I
it's
don't know. I
freezing.
don't know what the problem is with your
So,
video.
so just so
is weird.
people know, if you are watching this on YouTube and you keep seeing my video freeze for some reason, I'm sending video to Zoom via eyeglasses. That could be the problem.
It's got to be.
But it's I've never had an issue before. Although I say that, we used to occasionally have issue with Skype, so it may be eyeglasses which is causing the problem. But it occasionally freezes, so I just have to stop and restart my video, which kind of indicates, and I do that through Zoom, so I'm not doing it through eyeglasses, so I'm kind of not sure whether it is actually eyeglasses. But anyway, I thought I'd just stop and restart it when I'm coming up to my snippets, because I will be concentrating on something else and not my video.
Right. Which means we should probably go right now to
Gaz's
and
snippets.
Your audio just crapped out again right there.
Did it? Let me try that again then.
That time it didn't. But I wasn't
weird.
speaking the first time. That was one of the things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Which you may or may not hear in the after show.
There's a lot already. Okay, so jumping straight in. Apple shares. Oh, I think I just moved my video then. Oh, that was bad. Oh, let me just there we go. Apple shares new hometown shot on iPhone video. Great. I was going to watch that, but I didn't actually watch it, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, well, they did it in Westview, so
kaboom. Jason Sudeikis wins the Golden Globe Award for the Apple TV comedy series Ted Lasso.
I've never heard of that. Is that a good show?
It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah.
It's so-so.
It's only like one of the best things that Apple TV ever made. So that's all.
From IDC, Apple was the third largest seller of tablets in India in 2020, Guy.
Yeah, what they don't tell you that the two biggest ones was basically chalkboard and chalk. So,
Careful.
Doesn't require any power.
Apple hit the new law Apple has been hit with a new lawsuit over alleged iPhone planned obsolescence, this time in Portugal. So let me ask the question, EU. I have been a big supporter of the EU and a lot of the things that it stands for. Why then do these planned obsolescent disputes keep cropping up in lots of different EU countries? Could they not just do an EU-wide one and sort it out that way? No.
Well, you know
can't.
why.
I do know why, but
money.
Anyway,
if it was an EU-wide one, the EU would get the money, not the
no. That'd be shared out. It'd be shared out, and that's probably the reason. Anyway, I'm just getting fed up with all these new lawsuits that keep coming up. Apparently, Apple are reopening or have reopened.
Sorry, oh, bad word.
Do you want me to restart this one?
No. Keep going.
Apple have reopened or are reopening all 270 retail stores across the United States of America. America. That's really good.
But some of them are only somewhat open so that you can come in and bring stuff in and, not like the full.
Not full open.
Yeah.
Apple Card have been offering or are offering a 6% daily cash reward on Apple products for new users. That's quite a big kickback, actually.
Yeah. So wait. When they say daily cash reward, does that mean like you buy a $1,000 Apple thing? Does that mean you get $60 back from Apple for that thing, or does it mean that for each day that?
Well, I don't know because we haven't got the Apple Card over here.
Oh, okay.
Which is frustrating quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
But what it says is you can score 6% daily cash on purchases from Apple. So I don't know whether that's actually cash back through the card process.
Do you have to like leave it on the card in order to get that 6% daily cash?
Again, I can't answer that question
Yeah.
mainly because we don't have the card over here.
And
But,
it's just a weird way that it's worded. Weird way worded.
weird way worded. Okay, well, let me move on then.
Okay.
The judge in the Apple v Epic Games case wants in-person trial starting on May the 3rd. Yeah, absolutely. We all want to hang ourselves for that.
Yeah, go away, Epic.
I was going to read a
Just
little bit more
go.
on this, but I was surprised at the headline. It says Gmail for iOS updated for the first time in 3 months. Now, that you could either deem that to be really good or really bad, Guy. I.e., it's good that they've had to leave it for 3, or they've left it, been able to leave it for 3 months before they've done an update. Or it's really bad because they're being heavily attacked again, and you could have an update every 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Or it's just Google,
Or even worse, you
all
haven't
of the
gotten
data.
any mail at all for 3 months.
Yeah, well, there is that.
Like,
I haven't really-
everything seems to be so
I
weird.
wasn't going down that route.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, you know what that's about, though. It basically, because of how Google operates and what.
Yeah, you see that was the headline. They went after neglecting the app because Google have been quite famous for starting up a process or a service or an application, and then that dies on the heel. So
They're not going to do that to Gmail, though. That's
no
like-
way they're going to do that to Gmail.
it's like, oh, is
Anyway.
anybody still even using email? For what? Really?
Yeah, because we know everything about them anyway.
Yeah. Just go on Twitter. GWITTER. Twitter.
Media analysts again suggest the NFL content could come to the Apple TV. Now,
not?
well, yes, okay, so that would probably be good for you guys in the US. I have a feeling the worldwide rights might not be quite so easy. So although I would love it to be on Apple TV Plus, only if it could be spread around the world or to certain countries. UK, please.
Yeah, not going to happen.
But I'll be honest with you guys, and this is a tangent, not that we ever go on a tangent. I've actually been quite enjoying watching the highlights on YouTube of the games during the season because I don't have to watch, it's about 20 minutes. And
Yeah.
that
And you
that's
get the
reasonable.
whole thing of the game.
yeah.
Everything that happened.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. But on that same note, European football, now we call that soccer here.
Yeah.
That would be about 45 seconds.
No, it wouldn't be
YouTube.
that long.
Yeah, it'd be like, there's a goal. No, that was the only goal that happened. That's it.
There's a good pass.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to get so much hate now. Apple lobbying against Arizona bill that would let developers use third-party payment options. Here we go. It's going on and on and on. When will these people in power ever learn?
Because here's what's going to happen. Even let's say Arizona and all of these other ONAs win, and they force Apple to allow third-party payment options, and they force Apple to allow third-party stores. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, people who use those services outside of Apple's end up with a phone full of crap. Then they come screaming to Apple, why is my phone filled with crap? It's like, because you downloaded crap.
Because you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Apple has officially retired the Music Memos app. I think we mentioned that they were retiring it, but it is now officially retired.
Yeah. And exactly 6 people were very upset about it.
I think it was 7, actually.
Could have been 7. Yeah. There was that guy in New Mexico. Forgot about him.
You always forgetting about the guy in New Mexico.
I know, that poor guy. He's got to be feeling so depressed right now.
I did.
I should send him a movie.
And he listens to this show as well.
He does.
Poor guy. And the NASA Mars Perseverance rover uses the same PowerPC chipset found on the 1998 G3 iMac. I'm not sure it's exactly the same.
Not exactly the same.
Not
And of course,
exactly the same.
it's not running like System 9. Can you imagine? It's like you've got this thing that is traveling all the way to Mars, and it's like 20 minutes before it's going to complete this year-long mission, and all of a sudden you get a message on your screen saying, sorry, we've had this hard crash and we're going to reboot and we're going to have to rebuild your database. Shouldn't take longer than 8 months, as all the data is going back and forth. In the meantime, Perseverance goes tumbling and crashing to the ground.
Anyway, it didn't do that, Guy.
No, it did not.
It didn't do that, and it's obviously working very well for them. So, but don't think this is quite the same as the chipset found in the original 1998 G3 iMacs.
No, it's
Similar
a
chipset.
750 series PowerPC basically processor.
Yeah, cool.
That's all.
A good fun item that was.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, you can block tracking pixels in Apple Mail. We might come back to this in a few weeks' time because there's a couple of ways which you can actually stop. Because I took a bit of a closer look at this, and I was going to go through it very quickly, but it's not quite that straightforward and quite that simple.
Sorry, I'm looking at your screen right now.
Yes, so am I.
It's hysterical.
And it's not quite that straightforward. So I'm going to revisit this at a later stage as to how you can actually go through the process of making sure that the Apple tick boxes are checked so that it will stop any tracking that's going on of pixels through emails.
And that's really is. I mean, if you're a company that has to do that, you're slime. You're total
slime ball. I saw this headline and I thought, really? The Apple Car is already as legendary as the iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV, and it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
I like it.
Do you want to know where that headline came from, or where I found it, or saw it first?
I'm gonna guess iMore.
No, actually, no. I don't think he'd have said that.
Business Insider.
Macworld.
Wow, really? How the mighty have fallen. That's really, really sad.
Anyway, Samsung announces the 2021 smart TV lineup with AirPlay 2 and Apple TV app support. That's good. Cool.
It is good.
However,
and
this might be part of it. The MLB app is no longer available on third generation Apple TVs. Do you have this problem, Guy?
Not really. I mean, I do have a third gen Apple TV, but I'm not using it. I've got the one that came after it, which was the first one that did apps, which we have upstairs, and then the one downstairs is the 4K one. But again, as people are updating their TV set, we talked about this last week. As people are updating their TV sets, as people are getting other types of streaming devices, Apple is putting Apple TV Plus, the application, on any platform that will stand still long enough for them to upload it.
Yeah.
So whether you actually have a physical Apple TV doesn't matter. And they're already giving you one of the reasons to get an Apple TV, which is AirPlay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't even worry about it. Just get whatever streaming box you want.
Hulu has reactivated picture-in-picture on iOS 14 in a latest update, apparently. I don't use Hulu.
Well, I've used Hulu. I've never used picture-in-picture.
Okay. I use picture-in-picture, certainly on my iPad, quite often, if I'm honest. So Spotify is poised to surpass Apple Podcasts in the US listeners this year.
Okay.
Now, I heard somebody say a very interesting thing in so much as actually that's great because you get charged to be on Spotify, or there is a fee to be on Spotify, or you get ads. How much, apart from the ones that they actually put out and ask people to do,
exclusive to Spotify?
Yeah, how much do they pay people to do podcasts.
I don't know. I think isn't Joe Rogan on Spotify? Didn't they give him like some
Well, I know, but the
stupid amount of money?
point I'm making, generally, if they were showing 500, or you could hear 500 podcasts on Spotify, and 5% of them were paid, that would be it, or 10%, or even 50%. However, if the same 500 was music, they'd have to be forking out for every single music track that was played.
Yes.
It's a lot cheaper for Spotify, but I don't think that's quite such a good thing, and something that they really should be shouting about too much.
Well, again, if Spotify wants to start paying podcasters for exclusive content, okay, sign me up. You and I, we could do a weekly 1 hour Spotify podcast for some kind of nominal fee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't bother me at all. They won't do it.
You're missing my point.
Well, shocker.
Whoosh. Rosetta may be removed from M1 Max in some regions on macOS 11.3. Don't quite know why that's happening, to be honest with you.
It makes no sense. We haven't even completed the transition to all of the machines to M1s. Why would they remove the Intel changeover so that you can run Intel apps?
And the problem is, I did try and do a little bit of digging, but there seemed to be, I'm just checking my notes here, there doesn't seem to be any reasoning why. Nobody can understand why that's happening. So whether there's some sort of licensing that's going on, which is the bit of the problem in some countries, or not, I don't know, but there does seem to be an issue, or somebody's picked up something, run with it, and it's actually not quite the full story. So we should wait and see.
I'm going to guess it's not the full story. That doesn't make any sense.
Good news, Apple Watch ECG feature gets approved in Australia. I thought we mentioned that last week, but maybe we didn't.
Maybe.
Amazon launches Game On clip recording app on iOS. Now, a lot of people may or may not know, but doesn't Amazon, don't they own Twitch? I think Amazon owns Twitch, and I think that's got a lot of connection with that, because a lot of people use these apps to record their gaming.
Yeah, Let's Plays.
And I think that's, you're just going to see a lot more of this.
Yeah, well, Twitch is like the huge platform for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically almost everything you see on Twitch is related either to
I've just seen it here,
softcore something, or gaming.
So Amazon is the owner of Twitch. So there you go. I didn't know you knew that or not, but they are. So
no, I didn't know that.
The UK increases contactless payment limit, but little Apple Pay impact. I disagree.
Of course not.
Well, I disagree with that. Totally disagree with that. Now, the reason I disagree.
Well, they don't even have Apple Pay there, do they? Oh no, they don't have the card.
On the card.
Okay.
We use Apple Pay through the wallet.
Yeah.
Now, it says that there's little impact on Apple Pay because obviously there are no limits on Apple Pay. Okay. You could theoretically spend as much as you want because Apple Pay is much more secure in its processing. And that's what I've gone, hang on a minute, I'm going to sort that freezing out. That is, there could be no limit on our Apple Pay because of its secure processing process. However,
said the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yes. The redundancy department. Yeah. Anyway, the problem is a lot of organizations restricted you going over the current limit, contactless payment limit, because and they do it on Apple Pay as well because they set it. However,
be liable for more than that.
Well, they just went, oh, it's contactless, it's restricted. No, you dumb organization. Apple Pay can go to any limit. There's no limit on it. Whereas, where they say that this has little Apple Pay impact, has a big Apple Pay impact because people will be using Apple Pay for much bigger numbers and be able to, without the organizations going in there going, oh, it's contactless, you can only use it for £30.
Do they all sound like that?
Absolutely everyone that I queried it with. Everyone.
Wow. That's kind of sad for them.
Apple
Yeah,
was
I don't know. I don't, the whole thing, and usually what it comes down to is liability. So these organizations, because
Yeah,
if somebody uses
absolutely.
a card
Yeah.
falsely,
Absolutely.
it's usually the charge is split. If it's successfully disputed, the
And there
charge
was
is split
there was lots
between
of
the
concern.
retailer and the card holder.
Yeah, but there was lots of concern about contactless because it was so easy to just use it, and I totally get that. And in fact, on the Mac and Forth show, they actually spoke about, well, it would be nice if we had the choice so that we could either increase that limit to whatever we wanted it to. So because we're taking the problem there is actually you're assuming that the bank wants to take that risk. So I don't think that's so easy. However, they did say equally, I'd like to perhaps be able to lower that rate, so it's not, so that you can't just spend £100 or $100.
$25p. That's all I would.
Yeah, I think there'd be limits on it. So, but I like that process, but I don't think the liability is really with the banks. So the banks are the ones that are going to say no, we don't anymore. Anyway, I do think it has a bigger impact on Apple Pay than people are assuming, because actually so many companies just said it's contactless. I'll go back to that voice. It's contactless. You can only spend £30. Duh. Apple has clarified that missed Apple Card payments don't affect the Apple ID. So obviously, if you've got a credit card and you miss payments on it, then
They get upset.
You also get a credit score against you, which could go down. What Apple have confirmed, and this certainly shouldn't happen, is that there is any effect on your Apple ID. And if they did, boy, would they be in trouble, because you cannot link those two things together.
Right.
Twitter CFO says that Apple is leveling the playing field with iOS 14 privacy changes. And reading through that, they were talking about the fact that he believes that this could even have a positive impact on smaller companies. Oh, cool. There you go. Quite happy with that statement. Apple's new tool lets you transfer iCloud photos to Google Photos. That's something that I am definitely not going to do. And it's probably missed the boat, because I think a lot of people would have already done that. Because I think people now are set in their ways as to whether they're using Photos or Google Photos. But it's good that they've brought that in. The UK
I've never used Google Photos.
No, I haven't. I did try. I've got an experiment. I'll come back to it another week, because this is going to take a lot longer than we thought otherwise. It always kind of takes a lot longer than
usually.
Now, apparently, UK have jumped in, and the regulator is to investigate Apple over unfair App Store terms. Australian man sues Apple after iPhone explodes in his pocket. What he was doing with his phone in his pocket, I don't know, and I don't want to go there, but apparently he's going to sue them. The EU is prepared to charge Apple in antitrust dispute with Spotify. I tell you what, the lawyers at Apple, they just rub down.
This is why Apple pays them a set fee every single year. Like, we don't care how many lawsuits there are. This is how much we're going to give you, and if you don't do a good job, we'll get some other company next year that will take that same amount of money and do stuff.
HomePod Mini propels Apple to record quarterly global smart speaker share. Cool.
Wait, hold on. Propels Apple to record quarterly global. So the HomePod Mini is finally at a point where it's ticking against the overall sales of smart speakers. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have a HomePod Mini, and it's great. I like it.
I'm still thinking about getting one. I don't know whether to go for the Mini or the big beast.
Well, at this point, I would wait and see what comes out next. If you don't have one already?
I don't.
I would wait.
Hang on a minute. Ask me again.
Are you going to get a HomePod speaker anytime soon?
No.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. I kind of figured that was coming.
Apple has patented a new magnetic connector that could replace the Lightning port on the iPhone. Yeah. I just get on with it.
They're either going to switch to USB-C or no ports at all.
I'm not sure they are. I've heard a few people talking about that and saying, actually, Maybe not, because the USB-C connection is probably not quite as watertight as the Lightning connector. And why would you jump from a USB from the Lightning to USB-C to then having a magnetic one? I think they might be waiting to jump to the magnetic one.
And just
We'll
get
see.
rid of ports altogether. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Apple held top spot in the global smartwatch market in Q4 2020,
Not a shock.
shipping 13 million Apple Watch Series 6 and SE models.
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago when the Apple Watch first came out. All you heard was, "Oh, why would anybody buy one of those when you could get an Android Wear watch for this amount of money?" It's like, because nobody wants that crap.
No, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you'll throw it away 5 minutes after you've been using it. Anyway, now the reason I put the next one in was because this comes from HomeKit Weekly, and it says how iOS 15 can take HomeKit to the next level. What is that, like off the launch pad?
Yeah, just like SpaceX with their space. Did you see the video for Starship 10? What they're trying to, and completely off topic, I know, what they're doing right now is so cool and so much fun to watch. And this is tech related. So they shoot one of these starships up to about 10 miles, and then they turn off the engines, and they've got wings, because the whole point of this is, different ways to land these things.
Yeah.
So it has wings and ailerons and all the rest of that. And it comes down sideways like this. Now, the last couple ones they did, at the very last minute, they fire up what they call the Raptor engines, which is supposed to flip it like this, and then it's supposed to come down for a soft landing.
Yeah.
Well, Starship 8 and Starship 9 basically pancaked, just like boom, right onto the ground. Didn't quite make the flip, did they? Starship 10 made the flip. And if you haven't watched the video, guys,
I've seen a picture.
go and watch
I
it.
haven't seen the video, but I did see a picture, so I'll have to go.
It's coming straight down. You're thinking there is just no way that they're going to be able to do this. And it comes and it just goes whoosh. And then those Raptor engines fire up, and it came down, and they did this soft landing, and it was beautiful, and everything was great. And then they cut away, and 2 minutes after they cut away, the whole thing exploded on the pad, and they don't know why yet. They haven't said why yet.
Are they thinking that they're going to have people in these?
Well, right now, all of this right now is just proof of concept. That they're testing various aerodynamic shapes. They're testing these Raptor engines, and the actual spaceships, when they go up, are actually going to have external tanks, kind of like what the space shuttle had, in order to get it.
You haven't answered my question, have you? You haven't answered. It was
yes,
a simple
they're
question.
going to have people in these things.
Right. There is no way I would ever want to get on one of those things. Yeah, it's all right. We're going to come down pancake style. We're going to flip the boosters, and we're going to go, and then we're going to land on the engine. Right.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be like a.
What's this thing? What's this next one called? Titanic? Yeah. It's going to be wonderful.
How we got from HomeKit Weekly to that, I don't know.
I don't know.
A class action lawsuit over Apple providing refurbishment replacement devices proceeding to trial in August. Now the reason I raised this came from 2016.
So they're still arguing about this.
This was initially filed in 2016, a class action lawsuit that accuses Apple of violating the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, the Song-Beverly Consumer Warranty Act, and other U.S. laws by providing customers with refurbished replacement devices is set to proceed to trial August 16th. So from 2016
5
to
years,
August 2021.
Now listen, the devices that they bring in are used, okay? The devices they're giving you are used. Are they the same devices? Yes. Do they work just like the one you brought in, but better because it's actually working? Yes. Do they give you additional warranty time because you now have a different device? Yes. Shut up, go home, enjoy your new device.
Apple TV Plus Originals. The limited series In With the Devil, which stars Ray Liotta, Taron Egerton, and Paul Walter Hauser, is coming soon.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's planning its own flag in the streaming wars with Apple TV Plus, with its in-house streaming service that focuses entirely on original programming, and this is one of them. Great.
Okay.
Apple has released updates for the Final Cut Pro, iMovie, Motion, and Compressor for the Mac. Yes, but I'm not sure that it's working very well on the M1. Have you downloaded iMovie update?
I have, but I mean, I can't tell you the last time I used iMovie. I haven't used it on this.
Oh, I used it the other day. I used it the other day, actually.
When I do video, I'm using DaVinci.
I've tried to. I'll have to give that a go. I really will.
It's an amazing program.
The thing is, I tried to update it twice and it didn't update. Failed.
Okay.
Apple has discontinued.
Oh.
Apple discontinues iMac Pro. Apple Store says buy while supplies last.
More on that later.
Well, more on that later, but I've actually got another one which says Apple has confirmed the iMac Pro will be discontinued when supplies run out. And that is the end of Gaz's snippets. But Gaz has a link. Gaz's link. Now, this first one is actually the second one that you're looking at, Guy. This is from Daring Fireball, and his headline is Google search results have gotten worse. All I'm going to say to that is no shit, Sherlock.
Hey. No excrement, fictional English detective.
Yeah. Wow. Have you been using Google recently, mate? Good God. It's taken you this long to find out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was looking for lawnmowers and you gave me potato chips. Why?
Yeah. I was looking for lawnmowers last week and I bought one and I'm still getting lawnmowers. And it's on an ad, and another ad, and another ad, and another ad, and another ad. I'm saying no more. A British politician has been slated. Now, the headline here, for buying engraved AirPods Pro on expenses.
So
two things.
Taxpayers.
Two things. Fine. Taxpayers' money may be, but they've got a certain allowance. The point here was, and that's fine. So if they want to use them and they're useful and they help the job, especially at the moment, okay, fine. Get on with it. Not happy about it, but get on with it. You know, the level of the expense they've got, that's a different matter. That needs the argument. The point is but they were engraved. You dumbwits. Did you not know that loads of Apple products come with free engraving?
Just like chicken sometimes comes with free gravy.
Yeah, and that's the end of Gaz's links. Go on, Guy. Take us out. Right. Shall I take us out, or are you going to
go ahead? Take us out.
Freely take us out, Gaz. Stand freely by to stand freely by with free engraving, and we'll be gravely right back freely.
And welcome everyone back to the mymac.com podcast for point 2. This is the second part of the show. And since you've already heard the break and the ad and the bumper, you already know that. But I said it anyway. So, because this is going to be a super short show, and that's a lie, because I'm looking at the time on Hindenburg and it's already at over an hour and 7 minutes.
You're kidding.
No, this it's really, and that's not necessarily like everything that's going to be in the show, but the fact that we're just getting to the second part of the show and we're already at an hour and 7 minutes, that says volumes right there. Okay. And we're not going to make it even longer by continuing to talk about how long the show is. So let's talk about the whole reason that we're doing this second bit, or that actually makes no sense at all, but I'm going to skip right by it. Gaz, what might the next M series processor feature. And do you think that Apple could do multiple processors and still keep the advantages that the current M1 has over other current processors?
As long as that processor doesn't create more read writes to SSD, shortening their life, yes.
I don't know if I agree, because
What that they can or they can't?
no, one of the reasons why the M1 is so fast is because it has integrated, besides all the processor cores being integrated, the graphic cores are integrated, the high efficiency and the efficiency and what do they call the regular cores? The regular cores and high efficiency cores. It's all integrated into a single die, which means that the amount of time that it takes to go from one process to another through RAM and all the rest of that is currently kept within a single chip. Whereas if you add multiple processors, now it has to go across and do other things with other processors. And I think that might potentially kind of gum the works up. And the rumor that I'm hearing about the next M series of processors, and I think they're, according to the analysts, they're calling it the M1X, that it's going to have more of the regular cores. So they just add a bunch more cores to the M1 and just slap an X at the end of it, which would make it a faster chip without adding a lot of the dead weight of what certain companies now do with multiple processors, which is just keep adding more and more processors onto a motherboard until it can't hold anymore.
So I'll repeat what I said.
Yeah.
Which was yes to your question, as long as that process doesn't create more heavy lifting on the SSD and shorten their life, which we are not sure that is what's happening at the moment. No. However, I have seen some data, because this goes back to a previous thing about the SSD usage and the amount of writes that are going to it. I have seen some information around the 8 GB RAM Mac Minis and the use cases.
Oh, swap files.
Yes. And the reason they think it's happening is because the chipset is so powerful and able to do all of the things in terms of movie editing, etc. The hardware of the SSD is then struggling with the amount of RAM that it's got. And because an SSD is so fast and it's swapping from the RAM reaches max, and then it uses the SSD to take that buffer over. That's why it's possibly been actually increasing the amount of writes that there are to the SSD.
And you know what? There's no fix for that.
Correct. There's absolutely no fix, other than you shouldn't be using the lower end machine to be doing higher end things. You still need an iMac Pro M1X with a decent size SSD and enough RAM to be able to do all of that stuff. And they think that's where it's coming from. I think there's going to be more on that later.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who's got an M1 Mac at the moment with SSD. So
only 8 gigs of RAM.
And if you've only got, but don't worry about it, as long as you're not trying to use that machine for anything which should be a pro machine.
Like I am.
Well, but you're not hitting it. You
and
don't
plus
do
I've
video.
got 6.
You're not doing video on that 8 hours a day, are you? No, you're doing it when you need to for this sort of stuff. So I don't think even you guy, I don't think you've got to worry about it too much. I think the everyday user doesn't have to worry about it.
I'm not a pro.
But I think there's more to come on that bit. However, I totally agree with what you said. Yes.
Yeah. The only thing that they could possibly do, and they couldn't do it with the current generation of machines, would be to add high efficiency RAM outside of the processor that you
They'll
you
fix
would
it.
use for a swap file instead of
I-
going back to the
I
SSD?
don't think it's a problem. I think the problem has arisen because all of these people are jumping up and down on how fast and brilliant the machine is. And what they're doing is they've bought a Fiesta and it can keep up with the Ferrari. The problem is that it can only keep up with the Ferrari for so long before something goes pop. And it's not built to keep up
Yeah.
with the Ferrari.
And you
But
don't
it
want to
can.
see a Ford Fiesta go pop. I'll tell you that.
Not with me in it.
No,
Anyway, so-
or me. All right, next question.
If it had you in it, it wouldn't keep up with the Ferrari.
No, it would be like, you know what? We're not even going to try. Do you think that Apple will ever enter the processor game and sell M series chips to other companies?
No.
I don't think so either. So
And so rather than just going, hang on a minute, where is he, Steve? What do you think, Steve?
No.
No.
Yeah.
And the reason I think no is because it's got so much IP for them. There's so much intellectual
property. Yeah.
There's no way they would say, because they'd just backmaster it. No, I can't see that at all.
And, even if they did, it would be like, well, let's take the one advantage that we have for the Mac right now, take that away and sell it to other companies so that they can compete with us.
Did they, I suppose they haven't, I mean, do they do it with any of their other chips, i.e.
No.
on the iPhone? No, it's not going to happen.
No.
So
What do you
no.
think, Steve?
Steve, what do you think?
No.
Okay. iMacs are looking more and more like the next M series Mac to be released, as 21.5 inch and Mac Pros are in short supply through Apple and will only be available while supplies last. Do you think that the iMac is going to be the one that's next announced? And how soon do you think that might happen?
Okay, yes, I do think it's going to be the iMacs that's going to be next announced. And secondly, no, I do not regret going for the Mac Mini and a separate screen, because I now love my setup. And actually, I
Yeah.
quite like
Oh,
that fact.
yeah. These two screens, and with you with the 32-inch screen, this is fantastic.
Interestingly, Apple have been pushing for developers to get their machines back by the 31st of March. They've been jumping up and down on that.
Those developer machines.
Yeah. Why are they so desperate to get those back in quite so quickly? So that they can give them a $500 credit for what? Something that might be coming quite soon. I would say by June, I think they'll be available. Could be earlier, but definitely
sometime
June.
Next quarter.
Yeah.
April, May, June. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. How long do you think Apple, this is kind of a redundant question now. How long do you think Apple can wait for the next round of M series Macs? I'm going to guess June.
Yeah. I think we've kind of had this conversation before anyway. And I think I've said that I don't think they can now wait that long, because the expectation has now gone through the roof. And because the expectation has probably gone through the roof, yes, you've got lots of people that are going to get real bargain bucket Intel Macs, which is why I'm really pleased I sold mine now, because I think the prices will drop.
Once the next iMac, when the M series iMac comes out, 2019 and down iMacs prices, gonna go straight into the bucket.
So, but I think there is now quite a big clamor for them to start pushing this out, because people are seeing just how good it could be. Now that shouldn't be the reason for them to do that, because they've got to make sure they do it right, especially if they put an updated chipset in. I think if they've not got new Macs out and iMacs out, probably, I don't know, it might be the larger MacBook Pros. But certainly iMacs, and then people will be looking for the Mac Pros pretty soon. If they've not got that out by June, there will be lots of disgruntled people.
And you don't want to see us disgruntled. I'm going to skip the next question because we just kind of already answered it. Do you think that when the iMac comes out that they'll increase the size of both of them, like the 21.5 to 24 or the 27 to 32 or somewhere in between? Or do you think that kind of like what they did with the MacBook Air and 13-inch MacBook Pro and Mac Mini that they'll keep the original form factor to get people used to the new idea of the M series processors.
No, I don't think that's a problem at all, and Apple have never worried about that. However, what I think Apple will be concerned about, and what they will be thinking about in that terms of that, is the cost. So if they increase the size of the screen, and they will want to keep it to the high quality, so it'll be on the 21-inch, it'll definitely stay as the 4K, and the 27-inch will be the 5K, which I think is the situation off the top of my head at the moment. If they increase the 21 to 24, there will be an expectation that that also will go to 5K. The 27 to 31 won't go to a higher ratio than 5K.
No,
I
there's no
don't
point
think
right now.
there's no point. But there is quite a big extra cost in that, in keeping that quality of screen. And Apple are all about profit margins. So initially, I'm not sure, no.
Well, in my mind, because I mean, you look at what they did with the first round of M series. Basically, the prices either stayed the same or dropped. So
And the form factor has stayed pretty much the same as well.
That's true. That's true. I'm still undecided as to whether they would up the screen size for the first round, or if they're going to play it safe and just keep everything, at least far as looks go, the same, so that they keep their initial costs down.
I don't think Apple are worried about playing it safe. What they are worried about is keeping the margins.
Yeah, well, that's also kind of playing it safe. You can basically drop your prices a little bit because you're insourcing
but
quite
what
a
I'm
bit
saying
of
is
stuff.
Apple aren't worried about playing it safe in terms of form factor.
Oh, no.
Apple are happy or want to play it safe in terms of margin. So
yeah, but that kind of comes out to the same thing in a way. All right. Do you think that, assuming that it's iMacs that come out next, that do you think?
Next?
Yeah. Do you
iMacs.
think? Yeah. Do you think that they'll keep the current? Don't confuse me. I'm already confused. Do you think they'll keep the current M1, or do you think that they'll roll them out with an updated version of the processor?
I think if it comes out in June, it will be an updated version. If it comes out before June, I think it could be the version that we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah, because and the weird thing is with the Mac Mini, they only had the two Thunderbolt 3 USB-C version 4 ports, or however that naming nomenclature came around. But the Mac Mini actually had multiple buses, whereas the MacBook Air and the 13-inch MacBook Pro only had the single. So they could have included more ports in the Mac Mini, and for reasons decided not to. So they could take the current M1 and give you 4 USB-C Thunderbolt ports on the back of it, as compared to just the 2 that came with the Mac Mini, of course, and along with a single HDMI out and all the rest of things that go along with having an iMac, where you could have multiple monitors and all the rest of it, like I used to do. Do you think that the iMac Pro, for all intents purposes, is dead? Do you think that they're just going to drop it altogether? Yes. There won't be a new M series iMac Pro?
Nope.
So you think there'll be the consumer iMac, and then there'll be some version of a Mac Pro?
Yep.
No idea what the size will be, obviously.
No,
or what its capabilities will be.
I think the iMac Pro is, it was a good thought experiment, and I think it probably
3-4 years ago.
I think it found a very good user base, but I really don't think it was an exercise in making money. I think
I always kind of thought, as much as I wanted one of those, because I was sitting there going, oh my God, 18 cores.
Yeah.
What could I do with 18 cores? And then I thought about it some more. I was like, yeah, what could I do with 18 cores?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would I use 18 cores for?
Yeah.
Other than sit there and say, yeah, I've got 18 cores.
I think
Yeah.
that high end of I've frozen. Let me just stop myself and start myself again. That high end of capability.
Consumer grade.
Well, no, when you get into the prosumer, well, the pro scene,
Yeah.
it's great to have that lovely iMac, but really they want to be able to mess about with that machine a little bit more. I think the standard high end iMac is probably enough for the pros that want that. However, when you get into an iMac Pro, you're really stepping up to the next stage, and really you need a Mac Pro to get into that arena. So I think it's a very nice racehorse which hasn't got an owner anymore.
And is not good, and is not being put out to breed. There we go.
No,
All right.
to stud.
Let's take that horse metaphor to the areas that just nobody wanted to hear on this show.
Nay,
we say Wilbur. You probably don't get that
and
reference.
thrice nay.
Yeah, there was a TV show here called Mr. Ed about a talking horse. Yeah, back in the 60s.
I can't remember you telling me about this before.
Yeah, and you know how they made him talk? They fed him
Nay.
peanut butter. So he would,
Yeah,
and then they would just have somebody do a voiceover. And that's the end of the subject that we were going to talk about, which had nothing to do with horses or peanut butter, but that's where it went. He's nodding his head.
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Well, and I just hit the wrong thing.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
You have failed me for the last time.
I hope not.
No, that
Okay,
was me failing big time.
here's another couple of photos tips, because I've been using photos quite a bit. Now there is a retouch tool in photos, and that retouch tool has a cursor, and it's got a little circle so that you can make the touch, the right size for what you're using on. The problem is the size is adjustable on the right hand side, and you think, oh, I need it that big, and you move it across and you think, actually, I don't need it that big. I need to make it smaller when you're actually on the image, when you're moving, that circle around with your mouse. Well, the right square and left square brackets on your keyboard can be used to adjust the size of that circle adjustment tool, which is really quite nice. Now, the fact when you're using the retouch tool, you may also zoom in on your image, and you'll think, I've got part of the image done, but I need to move the image. And the easiest way to do that is press your space bar. You then get a hand symbol. You can then move your image to the next bit of the adjustment you need to do. You then release the space bar and it goes back to your adjustment tool.
Nice.
Hey, just come and speak to the Gaz for your tips.
That is excellent. Oh, and that's it. So it's the end of. Okay.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Yeah.
You have failed me for the last time.
I'm so sorry.
Why, you
Oh, wrong one.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All righty. We both have some picks this week, Gaz.
Yeah, that's for pick's sake.
Yeah,
Quite
so
a surprise,
weird.
really.
Well, what's yours?
Well, I'm just reiterating the fact that I'm loving the Logitech Combo Touch keyboard for my 8th Gen iPad. Let me show you a little bit of it here. Here's the keyboard.
Yep, and it's got a trackpad built in too. Nice.
It's got a trackpad, and I use that a lot. And it's got the magnet at the bottom, which connects to the clever little connection at the bottom of the iPad.
So
Yeah,
it doesn't connect up via Wi-Fi. It doesn't need power. It just works right out of the iPad.
And it's got a backlit keyboard as well. So
Sweet.
when it's linked up, it obviously it's just I really like it. Now it makes it a bit bulky and a bit heavy, but you can flip it off, and I keep it in around. So it's quite useful and get hold of it really quickly. But it's so much better because you get a full screen on your iPad.
Yeah.
And you've got a keyboard rather than having the keyboard, come up on the iPad itself. So I really find it quite useful. The keyboard is good. The drop stand on it is really good as well. So I'm really rocking it. I've got to say, I'm really rocking it.
And the nice thing about having a keyboard that uses a smart connection, with smart connector, is that you are not beholden to Bluetooth to make everything work.
No, and equally, it's got a little connector on it. So there's the top left button, which is you deem to be the escape key, I think, on the British keyboard. It's got a little square on it. I don't know if I can show this on the video. Don't you see?
Yeah.
That one there, yeah.
Yeah.
That basically takes you home to your main screen where you've got all your apps. So it just goes out with your app, and it's I use that a lot. But command copy, command paste, tab, so you can tab through it. It's really good. I'm using it more and more, and I'm using it to do the notes. And I am starting, because I was thinking, I'd love to get a MacBook Air, because that old MacBook Air that I got was really good.
Yeah.
But really now,
You don't even need it.
No, don't need it. Don't need it.
And unless you're doing something that requires the power of something like a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro.
Yeah. Which. No.
When I hardly ever take, and because I've got a MacBook Air, it stays home for the most part. And when I go out, I've got my 11.9 inch or 12.9 inch iPad Pro, and it's great.
Yeah. Well, think about getting certainly the Logitech one is really great, and this backlit on it. I think the larger one, the iPad Pro, their keyboard actually also folds under. This one doesn't. It doesn't fold all the way backwards.
Yeah, I've got the bridge. I don't have it down here with me, unfortunately, which kind of makes it look like a laptop. The problem with it is, in order to use it in portrait mode, it's a pain in the neck because you've got to basically either take it out or fold the keyboard all the way around.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, this has got to be in
and constantly having to reconnect it up through Bluetooth. It is a nice keyboard. I do like it, but I see I used to have a smart connector keyboard for a former for that first gen iPad Pro that I had.
Yeah.
And I loved that damn thing. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And my pick this week is not an iPad keyboard. It is in fact a microphone. It is the Super Lux TM58 microphone, which is what I'm actually using to record this week. And I won't really know until everything gets edited down, how it sounds as compared to my wonderful Heil PR40 that I normally use. The difference is cost. This is less than 1/10 the cost of a Heil PR40 at $35. And it basically looks exactly like every other Shure SM58 microphone or microphone clone that you've seen out there. This one is $35. And from the little bit that I've seen so far, it sounds really great. I like it. We will see what we shall see. This may become my new portable. This may go into my portable kit.
I see.
Going forward.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of retooling the portable podcast kit as we speak. And I've got some stuff coming in, and maybe that'll be the subject of a future mymac.com podcast.
Really?
Could be. So that is all we have for our picks. Remember, if you would like to get a hold of us, you can send us feedback in all the various ways that we'll talk about in a little bit. However, if you do an iTunes review or a Spotify review or a review of one type or another in some service that you use, let us know about it. Because not only will you be doing us the great favor of giving us a review, which really, really does help, you'll get something back for it. And that is just like Nibs UK, not Nibs Suck, but Nibs UK got Steve. He got a Woo T, guys. That's big W, big O, big O, big T, little I, little E, and that spells Woody. And he got one just for doing actually, no, it wasn't a review. He sent us a tweet. He sent us a tweet. And
he did.
And an email. No, well, we got the email after he did the tweet so that I could send him the booty.
You're making this far too complicated.
I know. It's not like me at all.
No, it isn't.
Gaz, if people wanted to get a hold of you and say, why does Guy go on and on about stuff that has nothing to do with anything?
Oh, I think they've given up asking me, to
Probably.
be honest with you. Yeah. But all they have to do is send an email to gaz@mymac.com, G-A-Z-M. Oh, no, just G-A-Z.
G-A-Z, yeah.
At mymac.com. You can also contact me on the Twitters, twitter.com/Gazmaz, G-A-Z-M-A-Z. You can also contact Guy and Gaz on the same Twitter feed. At Guy and Gaz on the Twitters, GUYANDGAZ. You can also send an email to feedback@mymac.com. That's FWDBACK.
Hey.
And if you didn't get that, it's FEEDBACK @mymac.com. So,
Guy was paid his 75
who
grand.
said
No,
that?
I was not.
Who said that?
Do we know it was a guy?
Well, it was a guy.
I like to go with Guy.
So do I.
This guy's trying to slip me a Mickey.
Well, he is at 75 grand.
Guy says,
What? What does he say? Go on, tell
For
me.
an
Pay
hour
no
and a half.
attention to that guy behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's what he
There you go.
says. That's what he says.
No foolin'.
Yeah,
His name was Guy.
yeah,
No foolin'.
yeah.
He's the guy.
Why?
Guy.
He's the guy.
Why?
An email from Guy.
That's what they need to do.
Yes. And if you wanted,
An email from Guy.
there you go. I knew we would get to it if I waited long enough. All you would do is you'd open up the email client of your choice. And in the little area that's right above there where you put in who you want to send it to, you would send that to guy@mymac.com. You can also contact me on the Twitters. I have not one Gaz, but 2 Twitter accounts. One is Mac Parrot, and the other one is Vert Shark. Didn't hear it.
Did-
Yeah, stop right there. That's all we can play. Is that just that right there?
Yeah, I had played it, so it's a bit odd
Yeah.
that you didn't hear it. Yeah.
And if you'd like to help support the things that I do, oh my God, you would send it to Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot, coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or PayPal at paypal.me/MacParrot. And MacParrot is like the default for all of these. You can also contact us via Skype. And Gaz, that Skype number is 1 or +1 outside of the United States, 703-436-9501. That number again is 1 or +1 outside the United States, 703-436-9501. Or get a license for a gun, okay? Load it, put a 1 or a +1 on the target, and blast away at that 1 or +1, and just use the Skype app. And that's a really complicated way of saying just use the Skype app. And that would be 703-436-9501. So, guys, here we are, hour and 35 minutes in. Thank you. Thanks to every single one of you who download and listen. I already talked about guns. Listen to the That's right. Get your in-ear monitors and listen to the mymac.com podcast, because, Gaz, I think that we are good enough for an hour and 36 minutes, and that we are smart enough for probably about 10 minutes of that, and that, doggone it, for even less time than that, people like us. Woof, woof, woof. It's short.
13 vans Hurris, 30 minute either recording a podcast. Let's go South African. Is a take sklek gedank ask ik uskmomen zu ton ibe an iber weiter. Iber weiter. My life already.
Hey,
Iber my life already.
Which is a little bit of a hint as to what language it is this week. Oi, Gavalt.
So, Guy,
Yeah.
how would you make your waterbed more bouncy? You add spring water.
Oh, no.
And
so you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.